This programme is sponsored by the Bank of Nevis Limited. Thank you, the Bank of Nevis. Hi there, I'm Pamela Martin, the host of On the Tourism Trail. And today we're at the beautiful Owali Beach Resort, 2.5 miles from St. Kitts, on the northwestern tip of Nevis. And I'm here today with my guest, Mr. Winston Crooke, who is the owner and operator of Bike Nevis. Welcome, Winston, to On the Trail.
Thank you, Pamela. Glad to be here.
Okay, so you're operating a Bike Nevis out of Owali Beach.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, for those who may not know anything about you.
Okay. Well, I moved here in '91 from England.
Okay.
I was living in London at the time. My then partner was pregnant with my daughter, so I didn't want to raise a child in London. And I came out here with my mom, who's from Gingerland, by the way. And my father's from St. Kitts, from Sandy Point. My mom's from Gingerland. And I came out here, fell in love with the place, and decided to up sticks and move.
Okay.
And I came, and my plan had been always to open a windsurfing school, because that's my primary sport. And that's what I did here on Little Nevis, because the windsurfing here is awesome. That plan went awry when I quickly found out that nobody can swim here. so unfortunately, the 5 youngsters that I taught to windsurf back in the day, 30 years ago, are the only 5 that ever learned because nobody can swim. Which actually is an echo that will come back later in the story as well.
Okay, so from the windsurfing, then you did what?
Yes, so actually at that time, cycling, mountain biking specifically, was going to be a side sport for windsurfers, something to do to keep their fitness when the wind wasn't available. So it had planted the seed even then. So when I came here, I decided I want to do bikes as well as a sideline. Just so I got some bikes, started renting them, and then one day somebody said, "Do you do tours?" I said, "Well, not yet."
I do now.
But I did. I got myself a bike and started doing tours. And then it just sort of grew up from there. And at the same time, because of the problems with windsurfing, although I was bringing people from the USA, Canada, Italy, France, Germany, and England to windsurf here, the local population wasn't taking it up, so I could not move my equipment on. And that was the end of the business. So I just switched. I said one day, that's it with windsurfing, and decided to go full bore with the bikes. And that was why I'm still here.
And that's why you're Bike Nevis.
So I'm in the 32nd year of my 5-year plan.
Wow, awesome. That's really amazing. So the main reason why we wanted to spend some time today talking is about the Nevis to St. Kitts cross-channel swim.
Right.
Let's talk about that, because I want to hear from the very inception up to today. How did this thought come about to have this cross-channel swim?
Well, it came out of something that was very sad, because at that time we had what was called the Nevis Cycle and Triathlon Club. And one of our members, she wasn't a triathlete, but she used to do all our timing. She was the wife of one of our athletes. Unfortunately, she succumbed to a serious bout of cancer. And so just as an honour, to honour her and the work she'd done with the club, we decided to swim the channel. So on that first time, which is 2001. 2001. 35 of us swam across to St. Kitts, including myself.
Was that locals? Was that tourists and locals?
Locals, all locals. Because at that time it was just us as a group. That was anybody that was within the club, which was very buoyant then. Plus St. Kitts, of course. And so we just got a group of us together and we swam across. But of course, as I was the president of the club, it was down to me to organise the logistics, etc., etc. We repeated it the second year. And that year we had 45 people. So I was able to do it myself again. But the third year now, we went from 45 to 75 people, because in the interim I'd been posting it on our website and doing some advertising for it, because I was very familiar with all the triathletes around the region. So they started to come, and the numbers went up, and then it was impossible for me to swim because I was too busy organising the event, and that's how it's gone from there. So I have not swum it since the first two events that we hosted.
So at the 75 person point, were there non-locals involved?
Oh yeah. It was, as I said, it was all of the triathletes that we had here because they were the only people who could swim at this time.
Okay.
Plus the other triathletes we knew from around the region who also knew swimmers and so on and so forth. So it was word of mouth mostly, but we also had a very, very good website which attracted a lot of interest because of cycling and triathlon. So we were able to springboard off of that, and so we were able to get it after, I think, I may be misquoting, but I think it was either the third or the fourth year, we had 75 swimmers. So then my head, I go, I want to get to 100, I want to get to 100.
Okay.
Because I thought if I get to 100, that's it, we've cracked it. You know, it was a huge milestone for me at the time.
Wow.
And I'm not sure which year it was, because it's a long time ago, but we did break the 100 at one time. It was a big celebration, and then it just literally just carried on from there. It had its own momentum, and it carried on from there.
Okay, awesome. So who else has worked with you on the swim since then? So you basically have been coordinating since that fourth year or so. Have you had partners? Do you collaborate with anybody to organise it all?
The only time I had anybody collaborate with me was in 2011, 12 and 13 because I was also president of the Triathlon Federation for St. Kitts and Nevis. I had brought in this TriStar group who were based in Monaco at the time. So they came over, and as a package I included the swim. So what we would do, we would do the swim at the first weekend and then a week of entertainment, and then the TriStar event at the following weekend.
Okay.
So we had like 8 days of activities, which was top and tail by the swim. So we were able to then attract, because TriStar were bringing their own personalities. And
they were from where?
They were based in Monaco at the
Okay.
time. So I'd flown to meet them in Paris to pitch the idea, and they agreed to come, and they brought Chris McCormack, who Macca, as he's internationally known, who was one of the most famous triathletes on the planet at the time. So he was here, and so he came, and then that took it to a different level again. But unfortunately, as is the way with these businesses sometimes, TriStar folded after 4 years, so we weren't able to continue the momentum with them. I mean, I was still doing the promotion, but they were including it in their package as well.
Right.
So it's basically been myself doing it.
Ever since then?
Ever since then, yes.
So now, what are the participation numbers like the past year?
Well, are we talking
COVID, so
pre or post-COVID?
Pre-COVID. Let's talk pre-COVID first of all.
Pre-COVID, we were honestly we were on a really good roll. The last event pre-COVID, we had over 260 swimmers take to the waters, and that was only because I had to close off registration earlier than I wanted to. So the numbers were building up. So 2020 was going to be stellar. Right. Because my mission, once I passed 100, I set myself another task, which was to get to 500.
Okay.
Right. Which seems like a lot, but I think we can handle it with, between St. Kitts and Nevis. And it got interrupted by, like the whole world did, by COVID. So last year, post-COVID, because we were still, it's hard to think of it now, but last year, even though it's only a year ago, we were still sketchy about whether or not COVID was going to re-emerge and so on and so forth. So I did not do any of the normal outreach that I normally do, because I didn't want to invite people and then have to cancel it. Yeah. But because it already has quite good acclaim globally anyway, we had 150 people turn up last year, and I didn't do anything, literally nothing. I was sort of hoping, I hope the numbers are small because I'm not really ready. We haven't done it for a few years and so on. But we had 150, and it went really, really well last year. So, life is life. This year I've had my own personal issues to deal with. Like I just had my knee replaced, so that took 6 months out of the year. So I'm just back to my normal self in terms of pushing the swim. So I've had to back off again this year, but for different reasons.
Okay. So what countries are some of the swimmers from?
We've had people from all over. We've had people from New Zealand. We've had people from China. We've had people from all of Europe, Germany,
and they
France.
fly in specifically for this.
Yes, they come very specific for this. One of the things I discovered many years ago is that there was a large group of persons very interested in swimming in the ocean. Right. I didn't know this. Right. I swam in there because I was a triathlete. but I didn't know that people travelled for this. In 2012, I met with a group called Swim Trek that were at an exhibition I was attending. I went to see them. Again, I didn't know what this involved, but they organise swimming vacations for persons. Who knew?
This is tourism.
Sport tourism. So I spoke to them, convinced them to come, and they have been coming here ever since.
Really?
Yes. It took me 2 years to get them here, but they've been coming here ever since.
Excellent.
So they stay here at Wally, and I think they're up to 3 and 4 visits a year now.
Wow.
So primarily they started coming for the swim, and then they branched out. And now they come around the swim and throughout the year as well. And that's the open water swimming is a global phenomenon. Thankfully, because of our 20 plus years of doing this event, we are well thought of globally.
Wasn't there some acclaim given recently?
Yes, we've been nominated for. There's a group called WOWSA, which is the World Open Water Swimming Association. It's again a global, and they gave us an award for being in one of the top 100 events in the world, which is for a little island.
Isn't that amazing?
It's pretty good,
Excellent,
so
excellent.
we're in the
Kudos
mix.
to you.
We're in the mix.
Kudos to you. So what are the numbers looking like this year?
I think we're looking close to 200.
Okay.
So
we're still ramping back up after
yes,
COVID.
so exactly. We're recovering and rebuilding, and again, it bodes well. We've had an interruption by COVID, but it bodes well for the future, for sure.
So how do you promote the swim now?
Right. Well,
through
my experiences, because of promoting the triathlon, first of all, promoting my own business, which was windsurfing. It's all the same. Well, it's not the same people, but there's aquatics. You can always find a way. So I'm quite well versed with who is doing what where, and because of we're well established, we're on most people's minds. We're not at the top of the list, but we're working our way up.
Right.
So if somebody has a bucket list as an open water swimmer, I like to think we're on it somewhere, and that's due to the amount of years we've been existing. So what I do is I target very specifically the open water swim community, because there are online portals and magazines and so on.
So there's a whole community.
Yes, there's a whole community that I reach out to. So we get articles in different magazines.
Right.
For example, last year we had 2 groups turn up from Italy. Now, neither group knew each other. One was from North Italy, one was from South Italy.
Okay.
But they both read an article somewhere and decided to come. So last year we had 20 plus Italians on the beach, which was fantastic. It was absolutely amazing. They were lovely.
And so now, what is the local participation like?
Well,
it's improving?
Yes, of course, because as I said, it is, if you think back to my first statement, which was about I couldn't get anybody to windsurf because I couldn't swim. Okay, so 13 years ago, because I also then I got into triathlon, big time in triathlon. All of our triathletes were getting on in years. We had nobody to replace them. The youngsters could not swim. So I took it upon myself to create the St. Kitts and Nevis Swimming Federation, affiliated with FINA, and then started that ball rolling, because I figured in about 5 years' time I would have some youngsters who we would have taught to swim, and then I could persuade them to become triathletes. Right. Didn't quite get a plan, because 13 years later I still don't have any. But the growth of the swimming community has been stellar. So when I started 13 years ago, there were no clubs. We now have 7 within the federation. Wow. Okay, so and the swimmers are learning and growing. We have a bunch of instructors and coaches who are learning and growing. So I think I may have to wait another 5 years, but I'm hopeful that at some point we'll be able to transition some of the young swimmers into triathletes. But because of those programs, we've had over the last 5 years, I will say, youngsters from Nevis specifically engaging and competing in the cross-channel swim. So, and also there's an event that runs at the end of the year, because we're at the beginning of the year, and they're competing in that as well. So it's growing. So one day, I hope, half of the field will be youngsters from St. Kitts and Nevis.
Right.
It may take another 2 or 3 years, but I hope that will
Heading
happen.
in that direction.
Yes, because
Awesome.
we are mirrored by youngsters from Antigua and all the other islands, St. Martin, Barbados, etc., who come here for the swim. So we want to be able to have our own group to combat against that.
Excellent, excellent. So, are there any challenges that you face at the swim? Obviously, it's a huge undertaking
Yes.
to manage 200 plus
Yes.
people
Yes.
on Nevis every year.
Yeah,
what are some of the challenges that you face?
I mean, obviously the challenge is because it's a lesser known sport. It's not an accepted sport yet in the federation.
Right.
You know, you've got cricket, football, basketball, etc.,
Right.
etc. Those take all the oxygen. So we're still finding our way as an activity. So it's not something that springs first to mind.
Right.
So therefore, it's very difficult to attract the attention of sponsors because they don't know what it is. First of all, they just think it's a bunch of foreign people coming in doing something crazy. Of course, it's not that. Of course, it's not that. But that's the perception. So that's been one of the main challenges is to get the local business community to support. So basically, I do it out of my pocket. is how it's run, which obviously offers up its own challenges. And of course, the big challenge, of course, is it's open water. So we're open to the natural occurrences and environment that you see. So if you look across the channel now, you can see whitecaps out there.
Right.
This would not be a good day to swim. But you don't know that because I have to set my date a year in advance. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Right.
I'm only, hoping that whatever is going on weather-wise calms down for me to do the swim.
Right.
We've had an instance where it was so rough one year that despite all of our organisations and so on and so forth, we had to cancel the crossing. And we actually swam down along the beach because it was the safest thing to do. The first priority for me is safety.
Right.
Safety. It's my own personal mantra, and I put that into any event I'm involved in. And then of course COVID. So we had one time where so COVID cancelled it twice, and the one time we had to go along the beach. But apart from that, we've been able to do the crossing every year.
So what kind of swimmer, how well do you have to be able to swim to cross the channel? Because I guess that's the question.
Sure.
People want to know, what skill level do I have to be at if I want to participate?
You have to have, to swim 4.1 kilometers to 2.5 miles, you need to be comfortable in swimming at least 3 miles, non-stop.
Okay.
Because there's no restaurant out there, there's nowhere to stop. Okay? Now, of course, because of the safety concerns, we can't guarantee that whoever turns up knows exactly what they're doing, have trained well enough. I say to do it well, you would need at minimum 6 months training.
Okay.
That means you're spending 3-4 times a week religiously in a pool to build up your mileage so that when you get in that water here, you're confident that you can finish. You have not to be fast. Obviously there are people who come here to race. Yes, of course. People come here to race. So we have top class athletes who will turn up, they're trying to win it. Right, to post the quickest time. But the majority are looking upon it as a challenge.
Okay.
And so in relation to that challenge, we also have a racing category, but we also have an assisted category. So that for those persons who have tried to train, but don't quite feel confident enough they can do it unaided, we allow them to wear whatever they want, wetsuit, use mask and snorkel, flippers, anything that's not motorized they can use.
Okay.
And they go in the assisted category, but that is a non-prize category, so you don't win an award. But it enables you to do the challenge, and once you've ticked that box, you can say, okay, I've done it now. Next year I'll come back and I'll do it.
More difficult challenge.
Yes.
So what safety elements do you put in place, like in the actual ocean itself?
Right. Well, we start on the beach because now over the last 3 years, I make it mandatory that we have these personal floats. It's like a small buoy that's about yay big that you inflate, and you put it around your waist and it tows behind you. So it serves two functions. A, it's your own personal floating buoy, so should you want to rest or get into an issue, you can just hold on. Plus, they are neon orange, so I can see them from here to halfway across, and from the other side I can see them from the beach from halfway across. So we can see them at all times.
So if anybody is struggling, needs assistance.
And of course, before any event, I do a race briefing. I explain what the safety protocols are. We have a number of kayaks, double-person kayaks. We have boats. We have the Coast Guard. We have as many boats in the water as I can get hold of, plus the kayaks. And everybody's under manners to know what they have to do when, before they even leave the beach. Then during the swim, of course, because human nature is human nature, I wish everyone would just go in a straight line and follow one behind the other, but they don't. So they spread out a lot. So we're doing a lot of marshalling. But we have boat captains like Cliven Christmas, who has been doing this from the get-go. So he's probably been doing this almost as long as I have. So he knows exactly what to do. So whereas before, up until 4 years ago, I was always on the last boat. So I would be on the boat with Cliven and marshalling and making sure everybody who started was finishing. But now Cliven does that, takes on that responsibility, and I can go to the beach and take care of what's going on at the finish line. So.
Okay. So tell us when the swim is. How do people sign up if they want to take part?
Sure. Well, this year's swim,
of course.
It's an arbitrary date. I just, for whatever reason, chose the last Sunday of March. Okay. So it's the last Sunday of March every year. Okay. This year it's the 26th of March, which is a Sunday morning, and we leave here at 8 o'clock from the beach here. And to sign up, you go to our website, which is www.nevis2stkidscrosschannelswim.com.
The whole thing.
There's a registration link which takes you to a platform for registration. So it's all online. Okay. So it's all. Is there a cost to sign up? Yes, of course. Everything costs money, right? Nothing. Only thing I free is the air you breathe. That's it. There's a rolling cost. We start off as we have an international and a local regional rate. Okay. So the local regional rate is discounted. But everybody signs up online, so it's all taken care of. I know who's coming where, which category, which age group they are. And we have 6 age group categories, male and female, as the prize racing categories. So in each category of the 6, we have the top 3 male, the top 3 female in all the categories. And they receive I don't have any, they're being made now, but we have these lovely stone made by the Stone Man. Oh, yes, by Marvin Chapman, and they are beautiful. They're much sought after. Wow. They look much like a turtle, actually, which they have a chance to win. Plus, everybody gets a finishing medal and one of these lovely T-shirts. Wow, sounds fantastic. So, just repeat the website again. Yes. So the website it's just the name of the event. So Nevis to St. Kitts, crosschannelswim.com, and then follow the registration link. All the information pertaining to the event is on the website. The link will take you directly to the registration platform, and you sign up online. We'd love to have you. The more the merrier. Oh, excellent, excellent. So anything else you'd like to say just before we conclude? Well, I always would like to encourage spectators. So, people who will come down in the morning and welcome the swimmers to the event, first of all, and see them off. If we have enough spectators, I will try and get a spectator boat, which will then follow the swim across, as opposed to just rushing you across. You'll follow the swimmers across, you'll arrive before the swimmers, and then you can greet them when they come. We've done it a couple of years prior to this one, but of course COVID has slowed it down, so we'll see. That's always on the background. Every year I try and do it better than the year before. That's my mission, to try and do that. And the local media cover? Well, whoever's available can come and watch it. We actually, our outreach now is, as I said, is global now. Right. So we get a lot of persons coming in who are, what would you call them, swim journalists. So they go around the world doing swims and they write document about it. And document, yeah. And obviously you're vying against other swims throughout the world. But I think for a small nation, we're doing pretty well, actually. Excellent. Well, congratulations. We wish the swim this year much success. Thank you. You're doing a fantastic job. Trying my best. Keep on encouraging our young swimmers. That's what we want. Progress. I want 100 swimmers from St. Kitts and Nevis one year.
sounds like a goal. Good goal to me. Thanks so much, Winston.
Thank you.
Thank you for viewing On the Tourism Trail today with our lovely guest, Mr. Winston Crooke. Tune in again next week and we'll have another fantastic guest to share some information on the beautiful paradise island of Nevis. Bye for now.
Nowhere but my island.